Oh, she is back here digging a hole.
Did you find anything interesting?
She just wants a cool place to lay down. She's a digger. Restart.
Okay.
What was the final straw that resulted in you and Sarah, and us, making this decision? Or, person said I should rephrase, not the final straw, but the final life event that pushed you towards this decision?
That's an interesting question. We've talked before about our plans. I mean, we've been planning to do this for quite a long time. We didn't really have the vision of the high desert in Arizona as part of those plans. Sarah wanted a horse farm in Kentucky for something like $26.5 million.
You gotta dream big. And, you know, owning thoroughbred racehorses is big. But yeah, no, we've
refined that vision a little bit to
yes.
be a little bit more directed at being able to live sustainably, so that we can actually feed ourselves, so that we can, be free enough to do whatever is necessary to live the way we want to live.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we've had our eye on this for years, and we haven't been shy about talking about, oh, this is what we want. We're doing this way sooner than we thought we would.
That's true.
For sure. And I will say that COVID has played a role in that. A fluke of finding out that that we could lease a farm in Oregon kind of led to us like, oh,
seriously considering.
We can have what we want without having to own it, but that would give us a chance to build up to what we want. And so we went and we looked at a property. We didn't get it. But at that point it was like, you know what? Let's still just do it. Let's just sell our house, and we don't know where we're going to go, but we're just going to do it. Now is the right time. And it took us a few months after that to get here, several months, but we were out here celebrating a year to the day of our trip to Oregon to look at a farm that we didn't get. We were on our own homestead at that point, a year later. So,
the theme of our marriage has always been that timing is everything.
Yes.
I mean, that's literally the song that we danced to for our wedding dance.
Yep, Garrett Hedlund.
Timing is everything. There's, whether you believe in divine intervention or providence or fate, I like to believe that things happen in the right order for a reason. And that may not always be clear at the time, but for some reason, fate's conspired to line up enough events, including 7 months worth of waiting for a property, so that we could get this land, and so that we could be out here and we could meet the people that we have, and cultivate the friendships that we've developed, and strengthen the ones that we brought with us, but also to have this experience and really just
I will say for me, because I mean we've both worked full time our entire marriage, and when COVID first happened, we got to work from home. I think a lot of people who were in that position, you realize how exhausting the everyday rat race really can be. And so going from working from home, kind of having a little bit more balance, granted that balance was because of a global pandemic, it's not something you want, but it shifts the way that you look at things. It shifts at what you find important. And so I know for me, even though I love the job that I was working, once I was back in the office, I loved the people. I loved it all. I was tired of daily commutes and the stress that comes with the job. We have stress here, but it's stress that we have personally chosen. And that stress, those stressful things are more important in a lot of ways because they deal with survival and not just, making somebody else some money. So I don't know. I mean, I think that kind of shifted the way I thought, the way I viewed things, what I really wanted. And not working, but working for ourselves has been amazing. I think a lot of people realized that they didn't want to go back to the office.
And so, I mean, it's created a kind of a shift in the mentality of the average worker, where people have been really needing a shift and a focus on work-life balance. Yeah. Some companies are better at that than others.
Yep.
Some companies are absolutely abysmal. Those are the ones you hear about in the news all the time.
Yeah.
And of course, it's always interesting depending on which administration is in power because one inevitably blames the other and back and forth and we're just tired of it. So we just figure we'll step back and we'll determine our own fate.
Yep. We'll focus on the things that are the most important to us and let go of all the things that aren't. And it's been a really nice experience.
It really has.
Yeah. Okay.
You forgot your list? Oh.
Yeah. Okay. My phone's being weird. Okay, so what's the hardest part about this entire experience that you wish you didn't have to deal with at all?
Sunburns on your butt.
You did, didn't you? I've forgotten about that.
Okay, let me explain. You know what? No.
Just leave it at that.
Yeah. Our land is big enough, and we don't have any neighbors nearby, so we take full advantage of it. And sometimes when do you ever think about putting sunscreen? Anyway. Okay, that's not true. What's the biggest challenge we wish we could have avoided?
That we didn't have to deal with at all.
I don't know that there are anything.
No, I guess the thing I wish that we could have had our stuff here sooner.
Maybe.
That's probably about it challenge-wise.
You know what? I disagree.
Really?
I disagree because it's made us miss specific things, but other things we haven't missed at all.
Yeah.
And so without that time away from the clutter and the junk, we wouldn't have necessarily realized what we appreciate, what we miss, what we wish we had, and how that compares with all the crap we still have.
Yeah, we've got to go through and cull a lot. And there will be things that stay, like my books.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I mean, there are certain things that are important, things that you value, keepsakes, memories, things that's like, oh, yeah, that would make things easier.
Yeah.
But a lot of the rest
is
like,
it's
why
junk.
on earth do we have this?
Yeah, because we had 3 floors to keep it all.
Yeah, you tend to grow into the space you have.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It just, I don't know. We don't need all of those
A lot of
things.
it was superfluous.
Yeah. So, yeah. I can't really think of any other challenges because I feel like we've grown a lot from each challenge that we've had. I mean, I have done things that I never thought I'd do in my entire life. Yeah.
Like what?
Lots of things. You want me?
I know.
So that when we were having toilet problems, we did our best to visit public toilets whenever possible. Not Not always possible. So I have a Shiwi, number one. So peeing into bottles.
Explain what that is for people who aren't familiar.
A Shiwi lets a female pee standing up.
It's basically a silicone funnel.
Yeah. And so at night I was peeing into bottles that we would dispose of later. And there was one day when we just couldn't wait, either one of us. And we answered the question, does a bear poop in the woods? A bear and a Sarah poop in the woods when you have to. And I never want to do that ever again in my entire life.
Probably more than you guys wanted to know.
But the fact that I did it, like that was probably the lowest point.
Sarah's version of camping is Motel 6.
It's true. So the fact that I did that and survived, I don't know, it's rewarding in a way.
Well, it's
I am not the person I was when we moved out here.
It's empowering. It's empowering to know that you're willing to do what it is necessary.
Yeah.
And if that's go out in the middle of the night and dig a hole.
Yeah, it was the middle of the night though.
It wasn't?
No.
Oh, no, it wasn't. You're right.
No, but it was, we didn't have any other legitimate reason to go to town. There was none.
I was willing.
Did it once, never again. Unless it's like The Walking Dead. So, yeah.
This is why we want to eventually sink a well so that we're not dependent on water delivery. We actually have, I mean, at that point, we would be, our big three would be completely independent of just about anyone else.
Yep.
Heating is another issue, though. We're still dependent on propane for that.
Yes. We don't have our camper's not big enough to install a wood-burning stove, which some of our friends have done, and would be ideal. So we have to make do with propane.
Yeah.
Which
but
is not,
that's, I mean, as long as society doesn't completely disintegrate, we'll still be able to get that. We may have to pay more for it as time goes on.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I did not think that we would be using a fuel generator for as long as we have. Not only did things cost more, but they took longer. Things take longer to get to us, number one, because supply shortages and the fact that we live out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
But then it's just, we've had setback after setback. You know, you take one step forward, 3 steps back, basically, with every new project. And so we've been using the fuel generator for longer than I anticipated, which has been more expensive in the long run. But
yeah.
I don't regret having it, that's for sure.
But not just that, though. It's an interesting mindset to make sure that you have your fuel tanks for when you go to town.
Yeah.
Make sure that your tank is topped off. Make sure that you have a reserve. Make sure that you have a backup for your backup.
Backups for backups for backups.
That's our mantra out here, is backups for backups for backups.
Yep.
But that way, you know, I mean, you have kind of a dramatic problem once, and then you start to figure out ways of preventing that from happening again.
Yeah. It really does shift. I mean, you start thinking about all the different backups. Mm-hmm. Even for things that you haven't experienced yet. It's like, okay, we're prepping for winter.
Yep.
We don't have a wood-burning stove, but we have
a full cord of split wood ready to go in case we need to use it as a heat source.
Yeah. And if we do, we'll figure out a way to use it and keep us warm inside. Even if that means building some kind of weird addition onto the camper to put a stove in, you know?
Which is actually pretty widely utilized out here.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yep.
It's a way of making use of what you've got.
Yep.
Without having to go to the trouble or expense of building an entirely new structure.
Yeah.
So anyway, that may be something we'll show you in the future.
Yeah. But
to be determined.
Even our 250-pound propane tank is a backup for
That's
our
true.
backups.
Yep.
So we have propane heating in our camper. Mm-hmm. We have extra propane tanks for when those run out. Mm-hmm. We have a 250-pound tank that we're filling. And we have what's called a buddy heater, which is a portable indoor propane-powered heater in case the camper heater doesn't work. So, backups for backups for backups. You start thinking about all potential problems.
I still secretly hope your dad will bring us that 1,000-gallon container.
That would be amazing.
We'd only have to fill it up once a year.
It would be huge. That would be an expensive fill-up.
Yeah, it would be. But we fill it up once a year.
Once a year and we're done.
Around tax return time.
There you go. So, yeah. The last question on here was, what are those weird things hanging from your camper by the doors? They're fly traps.
Goodness.
When we got out here, the flies and the mosquitoes, but the flies were insane.
There are certain places in the country where you actually have a full-on additional season. Summer, fall, winter, spring, and then black fly season. I learned about black fly season when I was living in Vermont. Out here, we actually have a variety of flies.
Oh my gosh.
Not even just flies, it's just a variety of winged insects.
Bugs.
So those giant things, those are fly traps.
Yep.
The idea is the flies actually are attracted to some kind of water-soluble
Bait.
food
Yeah.
inside these things. And so they fly in, but then they're too dumb to be able to fly back through the same opening.
Yeah.
They keep trying to bounce against the plastic container, and
Then they die.
then they die, and we are happy.
Yes. Because we have your regular house flies, deer flies that bite, horse flies that bite, mosquitoes that bite, and then all kinds of, we have our moths. Those are fine. They're just annoying at night when you're trying to go to bed and they're in the camper.
Yeah.
But all kinds of other little winged insects that I don't know what they are. Haven't been able to figure out.
Some of them are even ants, actually.
The flying ants.
The flying ants that bite.
Yeah.
Dragonflies.
Yeah, which those
we
are
like
fine.
Those.
Yeah.
But like mosquito eaters and things like that, those big winged.
Do we have? Oh, I would love to
Yeah.
have mosquito eaters.
Oh, they're out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we have.
It's just this huge conglomeration that, makes for a really, really horrible environment when you're trying to work outside.
Yep.
So this helps us to reduce
Yeah.
a little.
We also
Speaking of,
have.
there's a fly right there.
Yep. We have solar bug zappers too.
Yep.
So we don't even have to do anything with those except clean them occasionally, which we haven't done yet. I don't know how. But they took care of a lot of our winged buddies at the end of the summer.
Well, and Sarah tells me I've gone a little ding, 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 because a couple of choice beverages and a bug zapper after dark is a decent evening's entertainment. Okay, that's an exaggeration.
It is. But I will tell you, when you are sick of mosquitoes and sick of spraying off everywhere,
and then you hear that electrical pop and sizzle.
it's so satisfying.
Oh, it's so gratifying.
So, and really, we have to be grateful, I guess, because the reason we had so many mosquitoes is because of the monsoons, and we want monsoons. That's rain.
Yep.
But it, then comes with problems. But yeah.
Yeah, I think out of 365 days in this area, over the past 5 years, on average, maybe 320 of them were sunny. So you figure that many cloudy or rainy days. And it was only a drizzle for about 5 years. And then all of a sudden, all at once, when we decided to move out here, that's when the monsoons came.
Yep.
With a vengeance.
Yeah. So, I was going to say another thing that I was thinking about today, actually, that's kind of been a plus, and it ties into the whole mental health thing. Mm-hmm. But I suffer from seasonal depression. And so this time of year, like working in an office in Utah with our horrible air out there, because the inversion always seems worse in the winter.
Oh, it always is.
And then the gray days, and you're stuck inside all day. It was a struggle for me.
Well, not only that, I mean, it was bad enough we had to get her a full spectrum lamp to go in her office at work.
Yep.
so that she could actually get some UVA and UVB
Yep.
lighting.
My happy lamp. Which we
Well,
have in the
we
camper.
brought it with us just to be
plugged
safe.
it in.
Not once.
No, and it's, it's the first week of November.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember 2 years ago, it took everything I had just to go to work and not quit my job. Last November was fine because I actually enjoyed my job.
Well, you also had the happy lamp.
And I had a happy lamp. That helped too. So much so that I had my happy lamp on every time I was in the office,
Yep.
just as a kind of a precaution. But being able to get out here and be in the sun most of the year, I think, even if it's just for 30 minutes, has been... I see a difference on the days when I don't feel well and don't go out.
Yeah.
And from the days that I do go out. So just having access to the sun has been amazing. And we didn't have that. Number one, the air quality in Utah was horrible. And we have clean air here. But number two, where we were, we didn't even have our own yard. And I am very much an introvert. And so the idea of sitting outside in a public area that's not my own, where
we weren't very well welcomed by a number of our neighbors. Some were great.
Some were great.
Many of them were not.
And then you get to a point where you just stop trying. So, it wasn't like I'd go sit in the backyard or anything. Whereas here, I mean, we came out yesterday and we're supposed to be doing concrete and ended up just chilling in the chairs. And I moved from our reclining chair to the hammock and took a nap for like 2 hours, wrapped up in my coat with a blanket, hat on my head for my face, and it was delightful. It was just fantastic. So,
and it wasn't just a casual nap. I mean,
I was out.
She was gone.
It's true. I snort when I sleep. So not just the snores, but like it wakes me up sometimes.
I don't know if they needed to know that.
I know. But you took a little bit of a nap too, not as hard as mine. But
yeah.
But just being outside, sitting in the sun, watching the birds, being out at night with the stars, I feel like we live in heaven, even though it wouldn't seem like that to look around.
It's chilly at night, but I'll tell you, the sky is absolutely breathtaking. Every night it's clear.
Yeah.
You can see straight into the heart of the Milky Way.
Yeah.
You can see every planet in its rotation. The moons out here are particularly gorgeous.
Yep.
I mean, you can see, goodness, you can see Jupiter and Saturn with the naked eye out here.
Yeah.
And that was something unheard of in the city where we were living.
Oh, yeah. Even though we were in a city that didn't have a lot of lights, so that you could have the nighttime sky.
They tried.
But it's not the same.
There's way too much light pollution and just regular pollution that gets in the way. Out here, there's neither.
Yeah. So, man, I'm going to get some sunburn today. I can feel it.
You want to trade me places?
No, I'm okay right now. I don't mind. I don't want it to fade.
Yeah.
But I just have to be careful of my face.
Oh, yeah.
But I like having sun. Anyway, that's our Q&A. We'll see how much we edit and keep.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
No, I just, I think...
I have a thought.
Well, I was going to say, I have another hard thing, and this is just more personal than, like, location-wise. But we have all of these ideas, and I like to jump ahead, and it's really hard to not be able to do all of them all at the same time.
Keeping things organized.
Yeah. Because, I've got plans for places for people to stay and, all kinds of animals and things like that. And we have to take it a day at a time. And it's hard to rein me in sometimes. So that can be a challenge. What are you going to say?
Actually, I just had an idea for an intro.
Oh, what's your idea?
We come and sit down.
Yeah.
And we just walk into frame, sit down, and then we say, so, which question you want to start with first. And then we both just sit here and think, look at the camera, look at each other. And that's when you cut it.
Oh. I like it. Do we need to do that?
Sure.
Okay.